I'd like to get started with what we've done. We just talked about it with Eugenia. I have conducted a project where I got some funding. Thank God we got some funding because we started. I started off with a group of 5 French students outside their class time. They were volunteer students, and we started in early 2012 without any funding. So basically, the students were either coming. I had 5 computers in my lab that had great graphic cards, and they could log on in the lab if they wanted to, if they didn't have the equipment at home. But some of them had, and that was an interesting aspect to see, because actually the students that were in the lab doing the activity together, and the students that were at home had different vision of the experience. They basically reported on having a different experience because they didn't see the same thing. They got lost a bit more. I wasn't there to help them, so I was helping them with chat, and so it was an interesting aspect in the way that they focused, and they experienced the language aspect of visiting and meeting some native speakers. So on these things, oh, sorry, I'm just reading. Maggie, welcome everybody. Sorry, I was on calendar wrong day. Okay, are you filming now? Are you recording now? I'm sorry, I didn't ask you actually. Yes, you are. Okay, fine. Because I can see that the time is running, and I really want to show you the holodecks. So basically, in the background of the project that I'm going to show you about global simulation is that we had 18 participants all in all in 2012 and 13. We got some funding to get more students involved, and for 2012 and 13. All the students were volunteer students. So we didn't have that many, particularly for Spanish. And for Italian, we started with quite a few, but they lost interest because they were real beginners, and it was an extremely difficult experience for them. So I managed to keep 1 out of 5 originally, and is actually doing a PhD now. So he was very motivated when he started. What else did we do in this? What I have to report on there? Yes, I mean you could see on that slide that they had challenges with the viewer interface. Customizing an avatar was difficult, but it was interesting. And that was also a point of discussion, of course, because it's part of building an identity in world. Not only that, also describing it. So since language is everything, and when you have to speak, you speak about everything, and every little detail comes down to, you know, the color of your shoes, or as banal as I'm not sure, maybe the whether you're wearing a watch or you're not wearing a watch. So everything is important in language learning. So 3 felt very distracted with the environment, and particularly the very beginners. The French students were at an intermediate level. They were of a higher level. They were less distracted and they could focus on the language. So I think that it's an important aspect when selecting the students that you take on in World. It's not only people who have experience in 3D environment, if you don't want to waste too much time in training, but also people who have an ability already, you know, have a knowledge in language proficiency, because otherwise it just becomes too overwhelming. Everything becomes overwhelming or too distracting. So what I was interesting in, what I'm going to talk about quickly now, before we go up into my platform to look at the holodecks that I have developed for this project, is the notion of global simulation. I'm not sure whether you've heard of global simulation at all. Anybody? You can write in the chat if you want. No, you haven't. Lux, no, Monve. Oh, but that's going to be a great discovery. Oh, that's great. Okay, well, I'll give you a little bit of another background about global simulation. Basically, global simulation, and I'll move to the slides that are around global simulations. You've probably heard in Second Life, of all the trainings that are happening for professional purposes, like the military or customs officers or nurses, it is partly global simulation. What we mean by global simulation, it was hang on, I'm just going to try to find my slide. It was a pedagogical principle guided by the sense of flow and the sense of authentic environment, where the students are actually building their own world and their own environment, and their old personal identity. They take the personality of someone else, and then they create relationship with each other in the class. So basically they're moving away from who they are in real life, and then take on, you know, maybe join a family. So one could be a child, the other one could be a dog, why not? The third one could be a talking dog, obviously, and the third one could be a grandmother, who knows? But then they, with those identities, different identities, they then start building a relationship. So it's a project that should be run for, I'd say, at least 6 months, if not the whole year. But of course, it would come on top of formal teaching, because you still need to have formal teaching. So if you read my paper, you will understand whether, I mean, it is debated whether you should teach before doing a session on global simulation, or you should teach after. But we'll talk about this fairly quickly. I will move to the slide of, if you want to look at, voilà, global simulation and simulation in virtual. No, this is the one, theoretical framework. So can you all see the slide in here? I'm standing just right in front of it. Everyone, yeah, cool. Okay, so basically what you can read here is a global simulation is a framework within a fictitious environment. So of course the class becomes a building, or it becomes a hotel. I'll just move to the slide next, just to go quickly on that, and I'll come back to this, to what I'm looking at. So within global simulations, that were designed, you have the island. The island is, and the circus are actually, or even maybe the village can be more adequate for children, whereas the building is more for adult, or, you know, older teenagers. So within this global simulation, students create a persona, create be an animal if they're in a circus, or a village. They can be a profession, they can be whatever they want. And then they start building those relationships, and then having stories between each other. So it could be someone selling their car, or someone having a burglary or a crime scene at the bottom of the building. And that's what the holodeck is all about, that I will show you later. I have chosen for my simulation, or for my pedagogical plan, I have chosen the building. And you can see for functional simulations, they're basically for specific purposes, curricula. So you're looking at the hotel, so that would be, of course, for tourism. A company would be for economics or marketing, or whatnot. Conference, again, would be for business English or business French, business language. And the hospital would be for nurses. So it's already kind of put in place in Second Life, as we can see in all the many conferences that we attend. You know, a lot of people are doing global simulations already. So for language learning, what does this mean? With the idea of the building, I'll come back to the slide that I had before. Basically, the fictitious environment is created by the teacher. If you're not using a virtual environment, and we'll go back to the virtual environment later, but if we look at, I have done this project actually without the internet. With the internet a little bit, but students had to do their own research at home. But what happened is that I asked the students to select a street in Paris. At the time, we barely had Google Street View. It barely started. It was in 2001, I think, and they were teenagers. And so we chose a building. I told them to choose a building, so they had to come to an agreement in the target language, come to an agreement to describe their building, and then print a picture of the building that they chose to live in. And then we decided on a floor map. So the floor map contained 2 flats and 3 flats on the 3rd floor, and small flats and big flats. And so then they decided to choose a personae. So they managed, they constructed their identity through choosing being part of a family, or a bachelor, or an old bachelor, or a young bachelor. And out of this, then they started to create, throughout the trimester or the semester, then we started to create relationship with these people. So it would be from the beginning, saying greeting in the stairs, or, greeting in the street, learning about small talk, learning about, what happened, what have you done last night? Did you see the movie last night? And then talk about the movie. So basically it creates little niches for conversation for the students. So then with virtual environment, the idea is, of course, for there to give an extra layer of immersion. And with that, we're going to now go to my platform. If you have no questions, I hope you don't, because I'm looking at the time that goes by. Do you have questions, please, before we move on to my platform on this? I'm just looking at the chat, or you could use voice. I'm trying to keep to the time. I'm terribly sorry. I'm terrible with time. Time management has always been my problem in teaching. No questions? You mean the platform, my platform upstairs with the holodeck? Yes, it is. Yes. Absolutely, hang on. There is a teleport. If you follow me, if you stand up, it's very important to stand up before you teleport, otherwise you're going to keep sitting. Okay, so if you follow me down outside, I'm going to stand in front of a little thing, just right there, a little silver. So you right click on that silver pad. Can you see it on the floor? There is a silver pad. You right click on it and teleport. There you go. Agile has done it. Monve, you're standing right in front of it. Can you teleport? Right click on the pad. Cool. I can see that. Yep. Can you see the little pad? Right click on it. Oh, someone has taken it. Oh no. Monve's gone. It's a very good exercise as well, because it's not always easy. This is the type of things that we do in Second Life without thinking when you're experienced. Right click on it, teleport, right click, Gerard, right click. Very good. And then Maggie. So here we are. Welcome over again. I don't think that I have put enough seats in here. But basically, before we lose too much time on theory and my presentation, I would like to show you my holodeck. So this is my platform. You can see that it's fairly big, and it contains already some elements of that I haven't managed to package into the holodeck. So if you're not familiar with holodecks, it basically is a little platform that when you click on it, it opens a scene. So I'm going to click on it, and you will see a street of Paris appear. I'm very proud of it. Oops, what am I doing? I'm sitting on it. It was a lot of work, but I really enjoy doing this. So it's going to take a bit of time. So basically, I have recreated for the global simulation, I have recreated a scene of Paris, where then the students will be able to use their imagination. So I haven't put everything. The buildings are not furnished, because it will be the role of the students to actually do the building. So they'll have to choose. Let's go maybe into one of the building. You can go into the building if you follow me. So if you could see that the yes, there are a few. Are you okay now? Can you hear me? You've also lost me. Okay, well, I'll carry on. Anyway, so you can imagine what the students could do. Well, actually, maybe you would want to give me some ideas about what the students could do. So far, I haven't given you any clues, not many clues about what the students could do in this environment, except for, furnishing their flat. Just give me some ideas. Decorated for particular purposes? Yeah, absolutely. Like a ground floor cafe? Yes, someone could own a cafe. Absolutely. Family conversation? Yeah. So basically, what you need to think of is that you're scaffolding all the activities. When this is raised, it is using prints, but otherwise not. That's right, Xenia. That's right. That's why we use the holodeck, because it's a very, very big. I'm not even sure how many prims there are. So when we come to, I'm going to come back to the language area, but with this, when the students, yes, you have to love holodecks. They're fantastic. But I'll show you another one which I found. I'll show you another holodeck that I created, which is really great. But anyway, what can happen when you present such an environment for the students? They will be overwhelmed, that's for sure. But however, they are on their own, so you need to focus. You need to really plan all your task towards meaningful activity, towards meaning, towards a good. I just say so meaning. That's it. I have lost my word. Towards a meaningful outcome, because the students then can get really, really overwhelmed. So basically, you start with identity. So you can imagine yourselves, like we are a good group, like being in a class, and you can imagine who you could be. So you would change your appearance, and then you could start looking at what the environment has to offer. So before or maybe you just show the environment in which the students are going to involve for 6 months, and then out of which then you can say, okay, well then you put yourself into groups or on your own if you feel like living on your own, if there are enough flats, and then you can create your own personae. So if we come out a little bit, I'll show you a bit more. I will actually, I'm not sure whether I can raise it from here. Yes, I can raise it from here. I have another building here, which is a bit like a haunted house, in which, of course, we can add a few things. There are more flats in there if we have a bigger class. You can go in if you want, but we might lose sound. Oops, sorry. Oh my God. That's it. We've got a crime scene. Well, this is fantastic. Actually, having this kind of animation is great, because then you can create language again. It is an absolute. I need to have this actually agile if it is transferable, and I'd be very happy to have that animation to share with the students. So anyway, yes, so we have that big building as well to add for more flats, and it's a bit haunted. We can imagine a ghost. We can add, another topic. But if you look on this side, there is a little, it was me, Eugenia, it was me, I killed him. But he had a nice rebirth. So anyway, on the little pad that is on the floor in front of me, there is a mini holodeck that is part of the major holodeck. And oh, thank you, Skate. Thank you, Agile. So this mini holodeck there again can add a little bit of variety to the scene. So you could surprise the students with having a construction site, and then you can get them to imagine what could happen there. There might be an accident, someone might I don't know, get run over by the caterpillar, or God knows what. But the whole point is for the students to be surprised and then come up with something on the spot during the class, write about it, write about their experience, and then we have for assessment, obviously, and then we have covered a sense of flow, hopefully, if the instructions are right. And a sense of authenticity as well, and a sense of surprise, because what I have in my experience teaching in a university or with language students, I haven't taught formally at the university, but with the language students at university, is that they are when they're faced with something unprepared, they are completely lost. They find it extremely difficult to multitask. And when I say multitask, is using their imagination, using their memory, and being forward. So there's a lot of anxiety going on in the willingness to speak because of that. When they are not, so you need to get them used to having that kind of surprise and unexpected event. Oh yes, you find this, Xenia, you find this as well in art as well. Oh yes,
Yes.
it's a shame, isn't it? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You find it in art. Someone was saying yes.
Oh, that was me. I was saying yes. In art, I do find that to be true.
Really?
They like things. They want to learn what they already know, not what they don't know yet.
Right. So they don't come forward with imagination and their guts, basically.
Right.
Yeah, that's true. So in there as well, I have built in that little mini reza. If I have also built a crime scene. So if you turn around, suddenly there is a crime scene with some bots. So unfortunately, I haven't scripted the bots. We could script the bots. Leo Lobo has a fantastic script for that, where you could get the bots to actually have a little conversation or something, but they're people from the street. So they're not doing anything per se. They're just adding a little bit of life into the street. But there is a crime scene, and it's right in front of the building. And again, the teacher has created that scene, and then it's for the students to actually, with their personae, with their character and their situation on the scene, imagine what's next. So I think it's fairly rich. I mean, it is very rich. It's very I'd say, how do you call it, advanced in terms of pedagogical principles. You need to have a lot of time, and you need to have very motivated students. Or, as a good teacher, you need to be able to scaffold, you know, your the roles that the students have. They could be a journalist for one session. A student who's, let's say, the talking dog, could become a journalist for that particular session. So, you know, it's just in terms of, basically, the world is your oyster, and that's the beauty of having a scene like this. Because in a classroom, when I use my global simulation with the students using the street view, we were limited to the picture of the building, and that's it. So yes, we could add a few elements. I could add a picture of a body in chalk, you know, but it's not as immersive as using a 3D environment. So there you are. So, and I've got in the little park on the side behind the bus. At the moment I can't res it, but I have a zombie attack as well, but it's not there at the moment because I'm having problem building the third scene, which is the permanent one at the moment. So there you go. So I will show you the second one. I can see it's 9:40, so we'll have a little bit of time for end simulation, for a discussion. But I'll show you the last one. Hang on, I'm just gonna de-res also the. Okay, and I'll show you, if you come next to me actually, because this one is a little bit more tight, the other scene. So I'm going to build a subway station. So the subway station was something built by a fantastic builder. It's actually a Tokyo subway station, but I added a few things that make it French. It's basically the so you can go around and have a little look. I mean, I haven't managed to change the maps of the Tokyo subway station, but there is a big map on the side in here of the French subway, so we can play with it, and of course we'll get the PDF version, of course, online as well. The Paris subway station is if anyone has ever been there, is quite interesting. The names are like London, are very they have a history, so that's also a subject for discussion with the students. And you know, again, there could be a crime scene here. There can be anything can happen in a subway station. So if I go around, I will res again. I have a mini scene. I have a mini scene here. So I'm going to res a little. If you turn on the right-hand side, there is a train that will come up. And outside the train, there is a cop. I found a cop, a well-built character. I think he's an actor of some sort. I think it's out of a movie. But anyway, so this guy's good. This guy looks really good because he's in action. He's running, and again, you can get the students to play with it. You know, in terms of building language, building stories, and you can see also that this woman is pointing. She's not part of the first scene, of the scene on its own. This woman is pointing at something. So again, it's a mystery. Who is she pointing at? She's pointing at someone, or is she pointing at someone who's gone outside, or one of the panels, or something? So it's all up for the taking. It's all up for students' imagination. And again, I mean, they can go up. Agile, I'm going to try not to bump into you. I'm not going to try to kill you again. And if we move up, Yes, Monve, this is all in the holodeck. Oh, I've got something that is missing out of my. So just be careful, otherwise you're going to fall off. One panel is missing. There is supposed to be a little landscape, so it hasn't raised entirely here. But again, you can have different areas for the students as well to do their own thing. And that's the importance of being big, because even if you have a group of 5, or let's say a group like us, it would be nice to have a bit of privacy and do our own stuff, imagine our own stuff, create something, raise something, and then, yeah. Oh, you need this, do you? Oh, well. What do you want to do it with? What do you want to do with that, Tinia? If you're doing art, I can help you with stuff.
Yes, I teach a class in public art. So just like when you see the public art in the train station, I'm teaching the students how to do that. So I have to use like train stations, parks, and galleries, because I also teach them how you would go about designing an installation to go in a gallery. And I really want to be using this, using Second Life in my class in the fall when I get back. So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I can make this thing available, this platform available, and the holodeck accessible for you if you want. The thing is, once you have finished your class, you need to remove the stuff because it's going to disappear anyway. However, I can give you the link of. I can give you the place. I have purchased the buildings, for example, because I believe that the buildings would be a great. The French buildings are, so huge that you'd have ample abilities for your students to actually put their own stuff on there, on the walls, and create a nice gallery, a very flashy one, and also give you the link to the guy who's built this. I mean, I have modified this metro station for the purpose of this holodeck, but everything is copy and modify. So, if you had a holodeck, I could help you build your own holodeck if you wanted to have a similar system.
Well, I definitely would be interested in learning that.
Yeah, it's for a place like this, it's quite a chore, because there are a lot of prims and they all need to be linked, but you don't want to link everything either. I mean, there's particularly if you have script as well, it can be a little bit tricky to get the script going. But anyway, how familiar are you with Second Life and using building or scripting?
I buy everything.
Yes, well, me too. I do buy, and that's the whole point.
I've done very minor stuff. Nothing major yet. I'm still learning a lot.
Yeah, but it's good. It's yes, Agile.
Even just shopping for the right thing and putting it together, I think that's a valid skill.
Yes.
Just get copy parts for the holodeck. But yeah, that's a good stuff.
That's right. Basically, if you want to build a holodeck, you need to buy something that is copyable and transfer and modifiable, because you need to add a little script that is inside. So you might find a beautiful house that would match the gallery that you want to use with your students. But if the house, the building, or the object is not modifiable or copyable, then you won't be able to use it in the holodeck.
Okay.
That's right. It gets destroyed in the holodeck. But we can explain that to you. It's basically Horizon for me has been a great discovery. I've known it for a long time, but it's a beautiful tool because it saves you on space and it saves you on prims. If you have if you've got a good tenant, let's say, that allows you some temporary prims for your class, then you can just be wild, basically. But yeah, it's well, you keep contact with me if you want. Just send me an IM, and you could get my contact with Pionia, and I can give you my email address as well, private chat, if you want to. I'll be very happy to help you. So this is it for the holodeck. I'm glad it's 48 now. So I know that there is another session that you might not want to be too late for, but I would really welcome comments or ideas. If you want, I'm just going to clear. So we're going to fall everyone. I'm going to clear the. Oh no. Oh well, it doesn't want to clear. Facebook at 10 a.m. Yeah, it is 9:49 now, so I don't want to interfere with the next session. But I have a box with all the slides that I haven't talked about. I've basically talked about global simulation and using virtual environment. But if you're interested in theory and of situated learning and motivation, and please. Do read the paper. It's quite a good one. I'm very happy with it. But the bibliography is really good too. That's the thing. It's really a good foundation in putting forward a project, maybe to your head of faculty if you needed some funds. There are a lot of very good reference in the paper. But if you are interested in the slides, if you're interested in anything I've talked about, please do contact me. And on YouTube, yes, of course, please do, Maggie. No problem with the video, and I hope I haven't been too succinct with what I've shown, but I think it's more important to show you the concrete stuff rather than talking about theory that you can read in a paper. Well, thank you to you all. And thank you for being interested, and please do contact me. This is my second life. Oh.
Great talk. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Agile Bill. It's good to see you.
Good to see you all.
I'll see you again. Bye.
Wonderful job. It's and thank you for being so flexible this morning. I'm so sorry that I was late, but how creative is this? Just I can think of many ways to use a holodeck, and this is just very creative.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, I think that global simulation demands a bit of creativity as well, because if you want to provide immersive environments, you need to ensure that the students actually feel immersed, and the more realistic you can get, the better. At some stage, I had thought of using Unity 3D, but I just don't have the skills to learn Unity 3D. I had already been in Second Life for enough years to know that I could create something that would be fairly good looking, and that's my problem as well. I don't do 3D. I would like to have the time to learn Blender or God knows what, Maya, but I don't have the time for this. So basically I need to be on the marketplace, and on the marketplace in Second Life, the advantage of it is that they have a lot of good quality material, so which they don't have on OpenSim. So I might be wrong. I'm sure that it's being still developed on OpenSim or other worlds, but I still find that maybe I am too used to the quality of Second Life graphics or Unity 3D, or even I'm playing Assassin's Creed for the moment, which is an absolute amazingly graphically beautiful game. And yes, I can't do with not too good graphics. I mean, Minecraft just doesn't do it to me. And it's great that it works for kids. It's lovely. I totally appreciate the effort that everyone is doing on Minecraft. But I've tried, and I just can't get past the graphics. So thank you anyway for coming, and enjoy the next session.
You guys, I'm going to put the Facebook link. The next section is in Facebook, but first let me thank you again, Cybère. This is so Wonderful, and it's so extraordinarily inspirational for language teachers and teachers of art and teachers of science even. It's just, these holodecks are so useful, and I want to thank you for your patience with me too, for my computer problems and my calendar and everything else. So that you were able to come and join us this year again too, because it's your last presentation a couple years ago was equally as interesting. So thank you again, Cybère. This has been terrific, and thank you everybody for showing up.